Welcome back to Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast and YouTube video. It's episode 6, and I am here wearing a fresh new babushka because someone commented on the last couple episodes, and Tim is wearing a hat tonight. So we have our hair, our locks fully covered. We're ready to go. With me, as always, my dear friend Tim Beaumont from PapaBear's Pipes. How are you this evening, Tim?
I am present.
Excellent. Well, we're
I
starting
got
off
my
the show.
Ohio Briar hat on. This is actually, this is like my favorite hat. It fits perfectly, and I was wearing that Trends helmet all day in the shop, and so I've got helmet head. So I thought, well, I'll wear this hat.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks great, and we absolutely love Dan. And think the world of him. And it's cool that the hat represents Dan. So well done.
Yep. And having a little
well done.
barley, or not barley, actually hot pop.
Oh, well, there you go. This evening I am enjoying Balvenie Doublewood because I like distilled spirits better. So
That looks like a nice
here we
one.
are. Yeah, it's very tasty. I've sampled some of it earlier, and I'll continue to sample it as we go through the show.
All right, good deal.
Oh, that's good. All right. So, as always, we always start off the show with what's new. So, what is new in the Tim Beaumont collection this week?
Well, I got a bunch of new stuff to play with, and I brought some samples to share.
All right.
As everybody knows, I'm big on exotic woods, and
All right.
so I got some birch burl. That'll go in the vacuum chamber to get stabilized. That should
Very
be
nice.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
Got some
Birch has a very tight grain, and it really looks sharp when it's finished.
And this has got some spalding in it.
Ooh.
So it should come out pretty cool. And then
Very nice.
I don't know what this is, but it's a burl. I can't remember.
All
But
right.
it's a burl, and it seems like it's pretty hard. But I'll probably put this in the cactus juice just to be sure.
Yeah.
Quilted.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, quilted sapele. Sapele. It's it's from Indonesia. It's quilted.
Okay.
So
All right.
You can see the quilting.
Very nice. Very sharp looking wood.
I know. Got some red Coolabah burl. This one's hard to tell, but now this is stabilized. So
All right.
I don't have to do anything with that to begin using it. Mirandiba. I don't know what the hell. Mirandiba. It just looked interesting, so I bought some.
All right.
Palo Santo.
All right.
I got some.
That's a Brazilian wood, correct?
Yeah, and I got some. What was it called? It was leopard wood that had a California warning sticker on it. Breathing sawdust can cause cancer. Those people in California, they put warning stickers on everything. Like I didn't know that.
Can they
breathing
just
dust.
go ahead and? Yeah. Can we just go ahead and put them in bubbles now to avoid the rush, and that way we can recognize them when they're out and
exactly.
about?
It's crazy.
Catch cancer like a man. Just get over it and be done with it.
I know. You know, take that tumor with your boots on.
Yeah, exactly. Stone up.
That's right.
Reach down, grab them. Yeah, I'm a man. I'm going to breathe this in just because you said I shouldn't.
I know. Douchebags. So anyway, I have that stuff to play with.
So now we can add vegans and Californians to the list. So there we go. We're on a roll.
Bunch of douchebags. So, and then I stabilized some more. My ongoing fight with Morta trying to figure out how to get mortar to stay put. So I stabilized some mortar and worked on a couple of additional calabash pipes. This one, the top is Wenge.
Oh, yeah, African Wenge or whatever it's called. I think.
Yeah.
Wenge.
And it's got and there's briar for the insert
for the bowl. Yeah.
For the bowl, and then because this is stabilized now, you can cut it down much thinner, and it'll hold up.
Yeah, it won't explode. Obviously, a huge plus when you're working with mortar.
Right, right.
That's the theory, right?
That's the theory. And then was working on another one today that this is leopard wood. Or I'm sorry, no, not leopard wood. It's a the hell?
Zebra wood?
No. Black palm. This is black palm. Stabilized black palm. And
oh, very nice.
And then it's got some horn. I love horn. So, that kind of thing right there. Get that kind of thing going on.
All right. Now, were those commissions, or are those just something to put on your website or something you're taking to Vegas?
Yeah, I got stuff to take to Vegas. And I know, being the bamboo freak that you are, this is interesting. I had this started out to be an ants with a horn shank. I wanted a long, tapered, narrow at the beginning, up by the stumel, and then to get wider. And I cut a 10 millimeter tenon in here and slid that horn over it, and then I needed to trim it off, and I thought the best way to do that would be on the bandsaw, and I didn't have it steadied properly, so I put it on the bandsaw, and the first thing, wham, and I broke the tenon off right here. So change of plans. This became
a bamboo.
It became a bamboo. It's amazing.
All right.
So, like we're fond of saying, it's not the wins, it's the saves.
It's the saves. That's right.
It's the saves. Yeah.
Yeah. Well done. That looks sharp.
New.
All right. Yeah, and you are correct. I'm not a huge fan of bamboo. I'm sorry, I just don't like it at all.
That's all right.
That was a sharp looking pipe.
That's all right.
Magic steps for everyone, I guess.
Well,
all right.
There's
there's
a lid for every pot, they say.
That's right. So I did get the new tobaccos I talked about last weekend, and I'm going to start grabbing them here. This is Ugandan dark air cured wrapper. And the reason I'm showing this is because one of the questions coming up in the Ask Us Anything talks about pipe tobacco. So, stunningly enough, here on Pipe and Tobacco Talk, we're actually going to talk about tobacco.
Yeah.
I didn't think anybody saw that coming. I also got the Brazilian Foiano. And I have to tell you, this box that these 4 came in had just a fantastic tin note. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to make a blend out of these 4. So,
And the second one was what? Brazilian what? I didn't get that.
Foiano.
Foiano.
Foiano. Yeah. It's those are both cigar leaves. And you know that I have I'm always trying to find the next thing. What's something that somebody hasn't tried? What's the next flavor that really does something magical? And I really like both of those. So, and then I have some Tennessee, Kentucky light fire cured binder, which again, wonderful tin note. I really like how they do that. And then last but not least, I have some French dark air cured wrapper. And it's a French burley. So I'm very excited about all 4 of those. And they will go into the shredder probably Wednesday or Thursday. And I'll let you know how that comes out next week. But those are the 4 that I have new. I have, for the second week in a row, I haven't had any pipes coming in. Although I did rectify that for episode 7. I have a new one coming from EMC Custom Cobs. And I have a new one coming from my friend Nathan at Archer Pipes. So
cool.
I'll be happy to show those to you next week.
That'll be good.
Excellent.
That'd be good. Yeah, it was like Christmas at your house then. All those packages with tobacco in them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because I get this text message. You got a package. Let me guess what's in it. Oh. Is it a big package or a little one? A big one. Oh, it's tobacco.
Yeah.
Yay.
Buddy's
All right.
lucky. My dog is lucky he doesn't live at your house because he'd be so stoned on nicotine right now. He has this habit of stealing the packages off the porch and then tearing them open and chewing up whatever's inside. You can imagine him chewing on all that tobacco leaf.
It's not Red Man, buddy. Just put it down. You'll be fine.
God.
Yeah, I don't have too much problem with Cooper because most of the boxes that come are bigger than he is. He is 18 and a half pounds of fighting fury. So I don't have to worry about him getting into too many of my packages. So anyway, is there anything new Go ahead.
A package that had tooling in it, drill bits and that kind of thing. And they're just like, days are going by. It's like, where in the world are those? They should have been here by now. And then I get the message that it was delivered, And I'm thinking, buddy. So I go looking all over the place. Out in the yard, there's, plastic here and boxes there. And then I found the drill bits in the dirt, They were all there.
Which I believe is the proper way to store them. I'm not as familiar as I used to be, but
I know. And he likes Solzhenitsyn too. I bought a book. I think it was I think the day in the life of
a Russian
Ivan
peasant
Illich or something like that, and I found the book in the yard, and it's like half of it's gone. It's like, well, enjoyed that book, huh? Oh, I ate it up, he said. I devoured it.
I couldn't put it down, Dad.
I couldn't put it down. Those Russians are delicious.
You see, this is premium 2-ply paper here, Dad. It was fantastic.
He said it tasted depressing, though.
Yeah. That's kind of par for the course for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything new in pipe? Maybe we talked about pipes and what you're working on and the new wood you've got. Is there anything else that's come across your desk that would entice our listeners and viewers?
I think I've about covered it. That is about it for my report on what's new.
Excellent. So, an interesting thing. So, I've talked about it before. I'm in the fantasy league with the Pipe Spores and Pals guys, and Adam from Get Piped is on there and a bunch of other folks. And they said, man, I really want to blend with this and this and this. And I know a guy. Do you guys want to do that? So I whipped up a blend for him, and I made some honeyed bourbon.
Good stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah. Honey, and so everybody knows I love Four Roses bourbon, and that's the bourbon I use, although I don't have a deal with them and didn't really want to say, but I love Four Roses bourbon, and I have a specific measurement that I use when I'm honeying them up, and I put my special honey in it, and wow, it was magical. So we'll see how that comes out of the press this week. So that'll be fun.
So the local honey there, is it like what we get here this time of year is goldenrod honey, and it's pretty strong. Smells good, but it's a stronger flavor and aroma. And I don't know, what do you get out there in the mountains? Is it more wildflower?
I have no idea. No, I have not bought any local honey. I have a friend in a state that will remain unnamed because he asked me not to, that has sent me some honey, and it is absolutely drop dead spectacular. And then I also have a beekeeper friend in South Carolina, and those are the two I alternate between two.
Okay.
And they're both just rich, wonderful honeys, and depending on the blend and depending on what I'm making, it depends on which honey I use. So I use some honey, some of the unnamed honey in blends, and then I use some of the South Carolina honey in other blends. It just, it's one of those things.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to send you a jar of the local honey here. And
All right.
if you get
Fantastic.
a box that's like just oozing and sticky, that'll be the honey.
Oh, good. Nothing
A
brightens
swarm
my
of
day like
bees.
an Uzik's. Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, I ordered some plum bitters from Amazon.
Okay.
And I just want you to know, because here in Colorado, because of the HOA, we can't have mailboxes in our yard because that would pollute the view of some of these fine house colors that we've come up with here. So I have a mail slot in one of those large boxes that's luckily in the corner of the yard in the house that I'm living in. And the package they delivered, apparently it said, stomp the bottle till it shatters and then deliver it anyway.
Nice.
And man, wiping that out of the mailbox was just it's like, excuse me, postal carrier, when this was leaking all over your hands and smelled of alcohol and plums, did you think of, maybe just knock on the door and say, hey, this package went sideways? No, cram it in there. It's good. Jim will get it. He loves taking handy wipes out and use some of those alcohol prep wipes and cleaning out a mailbox that he can barely get his hand in. Sweet. Spectacular.
Nice.
So, and that's kind of what's new in the tobacco side of the world. I've got a lot of shredding to do this week. My order of brie came in, so I've got several pounds of that to shred up and a bunch of other stuff, and that's what I'll be doing in my spare time because, that's when I'm not working. I like to play with tobacco.
Yeah, good.
All right. I have no idea how long we've been on, but we have a mountain of Ask Us Anything questions. And I want to apologize to Chad because Chad sent us this question last week, and it was on page 2. And we were telling stories, and I was drinking, and I missed it. And I apologize, Chad. So, Chad from Lethal Precision, we're going to answer your question first in the Ask Us Anything. A couple of questions. Do you do custom blends for people, and do you know of anyone that grows their own tobacco? I live in Tennessee, and I'm wanting to grow my own tobacco. Any good info would be much appreciated. Tim, do you want to take a crack at that one, or you want to let me handle that one?
Well, I can throw in. I
All right.
ran into a guy that I mentioned, I think maybe mentioned last week, who's in Louisiana, and he's growing his own Virginia tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch, 3 or 4, I think, maybe 3 or 4 varieties of Virginia tobacco. And if with his permission, I would share that information. I haven't talked to him about it, but I'd be happy to pass that along if there's somebody out there that's interested in acquiring some homegrown Virginia.
Yes.
That guy right there. Yeah.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, that's right. Custom Plains Meat or something like that, right?
Coastal
the name
Plains.
of the company.
Coastal Plains. Yeah.
Coastal Plains.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. So, yeah, I do custom blends all the time. The easiest way to do it is connect with me on Instagram or email me at Emerson Southern Forged. We'll chat about your ideas, what you like, what you don't like, and we'll start to work on a custom blend for you. It's just the matter of getting in touch with me to do it. On the Grow Your Own, Thomas, my friend at Tinker's Pipes, and I decided that we were going to try to grow some this year. The experiment didn't go well because we planted late. They just didn't get enough of a head start. And Thomas is growing them in Louisiana, where Thomas is from. And we are going to grow some of our own next year. So when planting time comes, and typically that would be in Louisiana early in March, maybe as late as April 1st, but sometime in there we'll get the seedlings going. I bought 4 variety of seeds whose names completely elude me at this point, and I don't remember it all. But I know there's a Burley, I know there's a Virginia, and something else. And if you really want to know, I'll look it up and put it in the notes. Leave a comment, say, hey, what are you going to plant? And I'll go from there. And if you want to read up on your own, I would highly recommend this book, Grow Your Own Cigars. It's about planting, harvesting, how to cure tobacco, and it is a fantastic read. You can pick it up any place they sell books. You can go to Amazon, you can find it on eBay. And it's a great read, and you really start to understand what goes into growing tobacco. If I were going to grow tobacco on my own, I would probably want a greenhouse, simply because the less you put on the leaves as far as chemicals and fertilizers, the more pure the taste is. So, if I grew it in a greenhouse, I could control the environment and do that. But I am not a rich man, so I will deal with growing tobacco as it comes. All right. On to the next fantastic question. And then, if you've listened this far, we are going to do a contest. Mitchell from MBSD Pipes, mbsdpipes.com, correct? That's the website.
Correct.
We'll
That's
link
right.
it below.
MBSD Pipes.
MBSD has gifted us a Peterson 2023 Christmas pipe. They are absolutely gorgeous, and we're going to do a contest, but we'll talk about it more later on in the show. But that's what they call a teaser in the business, kids. So you got to listen all the way to the end.
You got to stay,
get all the details.
All the agony just drag through into. Yep. suffer.
You've got to listen to us ramble for at least 40 more minutes, because that's what we're going to do. And no telling who we're going to insult on the way. So our friend Jonathan emailed both of us, and he has pipe and tobacco related questions. So his first pipe related question is, for someone interested in learning to build their first pipe, where should I begin? Pipe kits, raw materials, are there certain materials, block and stock, that may lend well to beginners when forming and working?
I would recommend, that's a really good question. I would recommend that if you're interested in giving that a try, if you want to end up with a pipe that you can actually smoke when you're done, for a beginner, one of the hardest things is getting the drilling correct. And you can acquire a kit. It's all pre-drilled, the stem's there, fits, draws fine. Steve has them available on Vermont Freehand site, and Premel has them available on the Raw Crafted site. Vermont Freehand is just the way you would imagine you'd spell it, just, Vermont, like you would ordinarily spell it in freehand. And then Raw Crafted is RAWKRAFTED. And we'll put links below to both of those. But that would be where I would start. That's where I started. I got a couple of those kits, and the hard part was already done, and all I needed to do was shape it and have it turn out to look like a pipe. And these things are already cut into profile. Well, the ones that Premel sells are cut into profile. The ones that Steve has at Vermont Freehand, they're more of like an Ubushan type, just cut to sort of, obtuse angles, and, blocky. But, you have to cut those down and shape them. And so either of those would be a good place to start. And they'd be a decent challenge, and you could end up with a pretty nice pipe at the end of the project. So that's where I would start. The other thing that you can do is you can go to either of those sites, and if you've got a drill press or a lathe and you feel confident enough to give it a try, you can line it up, drill your chamber and your draft, and set a stem in for yourself. You can buy a precast stem and put it together that way. I think, though, for the money, get the kit. That'd probably be the best place to start. The cost is about the same, but it's a little less hassle if you've never tried it before.
Yeah.
So that's where I would go with it.
Excellent advice. All right, excellent advice.
And of course, anybody that's listening, if you have questions, you're giving it a try. I'm always happy to help people out. So, if you've got questions, just send me a direct message or go on the website, my website, and send me an email, and I'll help you out.
Excellent.
No problem.
Excellent. Well, that's very gracious of you, sir. All right. He's got a follow-up, but I did want to just throw this in. When you make your first pipe, keep your first pipe. Don't sell it away, because what you'll find is that you'll refer back to it when you're making things, and you'll see how far you've come. And it's a great reminder of where you started. So always hang on to your first one.
I agree.
That's my 2 cents. All right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
One additional question. Do you have a recommendation where I should focus my attention when working? On one hand, the look and feel of the finished pipe comes down to the forming, shaping, finishing of the briar. Focus on form. On the other hand, the fit and feel and quality of the smoking experience are elevated within the detail of the stem work and interfacing. Should I focus on function? So it's form over function.
Yeah, and that the reason why I suggest is getting a kit is you don't have to worry about the function part of it. You can just focus on the form part. And I think that's the best way to go when you're starting out, is to begin to develop skills on working the briar, creating shapes, creating a piece that feels good in your hand and one that looks good to the eye, but you don't have to be concerned about the functional part of it, because the drilling's already done. The stem works fine. Now, once you get through your first one or two, then you can start working on some refinements. Maybe blending the stem into the shank a little bit, or working with a pull saw to open the airway a little bit, and learn how to funnel the stem. The majority of the stems that you're going to get are going to be precast. Most likely, they're going to be acrylic. That's what I've seen in a lot of the kits. They're acrylic. Those are a little bit harder to work, but if you got less of a chance of really mucking it up too, because the material's kind of hard. So you can get after it with a file, and begin working on the shape, taking the bite zone down to where it's comfortable for yourself, refining the button. They come precast. There's a little bit of a flash seam around the outside edges, taking those things down. And if you do this, and you run into issues, just look me up and I'll help you. There's a lot of pointers that I can give that I've learned through trial and error that I'm happy to share to anybody that'll ask. But that's where I would start. Deal with buy something that's already functionally right, and then work on the form part. And then, fly landed right on my nose while I was talking. And then once you get there, and you become more proficient in working the wood, then you can branch out into doing your own drilling and building your own stems, and just evolving that way. So there you have it.
There you go. All right. Excellent. Just from my personal pipe buying, if I don't like the form, I really don't care what the function is. It's just, if it doesn't look right to me, if it doesn't grab my attention, if it doesn't resonate with me, it could be the greatest smoking pipe in the world, but it's just, I won't smoke it and I won't buy it because I don't like the form. So I'm a form over function guy, first and foremost. All right. Now we get into Jonathan's tobacco-related questions. Tim, do you have a memorable public piping experience or interaction with someone, someplace, that you will never forget? that you would be happy to share?
Well, I was at a football game one time, and I took a real bad ass whipping. I'll never forget that. Is that what he's talking about, you think?
No, we're
Oh.
not talking about, no. A memorable public piping experience, not a anal raping experience. Subtle yet distinct
Oh, no, I
difference.
thought he said public pummeling.
No, no,
Oh.
Tim.
Oh. Because I've had plenty
Yeah,
of
it's
those.
like that old joke. They say it's like that old joke. They say carrots help improve your memory. Yeah, my uncle crammed one up my ass, and I never forgot it. So, we're off color now, kids. All right. Okay. So
I think the at the pipe shows. I mean, just one recently, we were at the Muletown show, and everybody had to get together on Friday before the show, and it was just like the best day. We sat around, had some alcoholic beverages, and many, and we, had pipes and delicious tobaccos all day long. Good conversation. It was great. So.
yeah.
Jonathan, if you go to the shows, those can be an awful lot of fun. You get to meet people that you ordinarily wouldn't get a chance to meet, and encounter some tobaccos that you probably wouldn't be exposed to otherwise. Everybody's willing to share, and so that'd be my recommendation. And that's, as far as memories go, that's the ones that come to mind for me.
And I am almost polar opposite to that. My neighbor Glenn, when I lived in South Carolina, he and I had a couple of pipes because he was new to pipe tobacco smoking, and I refinished some estate pipes, and they became part of his collection, and we shared some tobacco, and we had a couple of pipes together. And about a month and a half ago, I met with Anthony from Castle Briars at Edwards Tobacco in Englewood, Colorado, and had a pipe with him. And other than that, pipe smoking for me is a solitary journey. I use pipe smoking as my quiet time. I'll go sit in the garage, or I'll go sit out on the porch, or I'll take a walk and take the dog and just enjoy the 35, 45, 55 minutes of alone time with my thoughts. And I use my pipe time as quiet time. It's a solitary thing for me, and that's just the nature of my personality when I'm not doing this kind of stuff. There has to be some downtime, and I use a pipe to get it. And because my wife hates all flavors of pipe tobacco, I'm fairly successful in keeping her not with me when I'm smoking a pipe, because she doesn't like any of them. So, fairly simple. He continues on. I have fond memories of my grandfather in public, always being stopped to have positive interactions with men, women, and children alike, just because he was smoking such a great pipe and tobacco with a wonderful aroma. I know this is a common occurrence, but I was curious if you had one of those moments you'll never forget. Heck, I've heard some guys carrying spare tobacco samples and pipes out in public just in case they see a reason to give someone who seemed extra interested in pipe smoking. Thanks for all your great content. Looking forward to watching, hearing more from you both. Hope one day we can eventually share a smoke sometime. Until then, cheers, and great to speak with you. Strangely enough, I'm one of those guys that does carry a spare pipe with me everywhere I go, and I always have at least a couple ounces tobacco with me. And if someone stops me and says, "Hey, boy, that smells great, I'd really like to try," well, I can help you out. So I have a spare pipe in my briefcase, and
yep, I do the same. If I'm going someplace and I know there's going to be an opportunity, I always take extra with me because, rather than sit, in somebody's garage and smoke a pipe by myself, have company. You know?
They call me selfish bastard because I don't bring anything, there's not enough for everyone, so I'm not giving anyone any.
Boy, this pipe tobacco sure is good.
Tom Sawyered up a little bit. Man, bet y'all wish you could have some of this. All right. So I posted earlier today on Instagram the Ask Us Anything, and one of the first questions we got is from Roger GJ86. Just curious, fellas, what made you want to start a podcast? Love the show. Cheers from Canada. Well, thank you for being our listener from Canada, Roger. We greatly appreciate it. And Tim, why did we do this?
We have a good time when we're talking and joking around, and we just thought that why shouldn't other people enjoy our wonderful humor? And we say some really smart things. I mean, why not share it with the world? I remember you saying that.
Well, every time you and I talk, we both end up rolling around on the floor. And there's some things we can't do on a YouTube video. Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I don't think really care. But YouTube does. And it's always an entertaining, lively discussion with both of us. And there are lots of pipe shows out there. There are lots of tobacco shows out there. We just thought it was an interesting take to have a master craftsman pipe maker like Tim and a casual blender like me talk about the things that we love. So we just decided to do it, and we were going to have fun no matter what. And, we just talk about stuff. And we both seem to enjoy it. I have a great time every time we do this. And, I'm pretty hyped up after the show because it's a hoot.
Yep. When you said master craftsman, it reminds me, back when I was on the job, we used to take customers fishing. And the guys at the bank that were putting this fishing trip together, there were three other ones and then myself. And one guy, Jim, he was the guy that was spearheading the whole thing. And so he made this flyer, and they put one on my desk. And I come and I look at it, and I'm reading it, and it says, please join us for a, great day of walleye fishing on Lake Erie. The day will be headed by Captain Jim, first mate Bob, second mate, and then all the bait and everything will be supplied by the master baiter Tim Beaumont. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Hey, now.
Hey,
it's getting close
funny.
to home.
We were
and
going
you sent this
fishing.
out to everyone.
I'm not that
Excellent.
good at it, guys,
And now a word from our sponsor, Dolphin Wax. When you absolutely positively need to shine up the ride, Dolphin Wax. All right. But thank you. I great question. We just wanted to. Tim and I have been friends for, 2 years now.
Yeah.
And like I said, every time we talk, we just have a blast. And we thought, you know what? We should share this with the rest of the world and our fives of listeners. So there we are. And because we posted it online, and it'll last long after Tim and I are both gone.
Right. So my grandkids can look at this and go, oh boy, I'm proud. So proud.
Wow. Grandpa, look at how many people from California you've insulted in just one show.
I know.
Yeah, well,
they're all rubbing their foreheads going, man, the shit he says.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now a word from the vegans.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
It's a meatless program.
No, it's not. We're carnivores.
Afraid not.
Yeah. You know what's great about vegetables? You just push them aside while you're eating your meat.
I know.
From Instagram, R.W. Edwards, enjoying the podcast. Keep it up. My question is olive wood heavier than briar? And what do you think the lightest olive wood filter pipe in a billiard shape could be? Less than 40 grams? I guess that's 3 questions. Okay. Tim, I'll let you answer that, and then we're going to do an experiment because I have a magic scale here and an olive wood and a briar pipe of similar sizes and an olive wood pipe, and we'll weigh them up.
Well, I would say the answer to that question is it depends. There's briar is always going to be in some ways denser than olive wood, except not always. There's exceptions to every rule. You get into strawberry briar, that's not as dense as like a Mano Mediterranean briar. And I've seen olive wood that is dense and heavy, and then other blocks of olive wood that aren't quite so dense or heavy. Now, if you took a dried, fully dried Aubuchon block, let's say, and you made a billiard out of it, and then you took a block of olive wood, and you make the same size billiard out of it, it's very likely that the olive could be a little bit heavier because it's got oil in it. So it just depends. Wish I could say that there was a hard and fast rule, but it just depends. And I'm thinking I never weigh anything in grams. I always have my scale on ounces, but in the 1.5 to 1.7 ounces in a billiard is probably about a comfortable weight.
Okay. Well, I have 2 pipes. One is a Jack Ryan billiard out of briar, and then I have a PapaBear's pipe billiard made out of olive wood, and they're almost exactly the same length. You can see from here the bowl thickness is a little thicker on the Jack Ryan pipe than it is, and when I put them on the scale, the olive wood pipe weighs 49 grams, and I put the briar on the scale, and it weighs 49 grams. Now, here's the clutch thing about this. If I take the stems off of both of these and just weigh the bowl and the shank, the briar weighs 33 grams. And for those of you that don't know the metric system, don't worry, I don't either. It's only because I can read it on the scale. And here's the olive wood. So 33 for the briar, and the olive wood is 41. So if we take those 2 things into account, it's a little bit heavier. And Tim's stem is a little bit lighter, and the other one, but they both weigh 50 grams. So in that respect, I have to go with Tim because I don't work with either one of them in pipe making, and I don't know. I will tell you that I do really like olive wood pipes, and I have several that I wanted to show to you. So my friend Tinker got me this DC pipe, and it is a small olive wood. It's got a really unique carve out in the middle. It's it's a smaller pipe, but it's really kind of sharp and interesting, and has a unique smell when you smoke the pipe. And then I have a stunningly enough, by the master craftsman himself, PapaBear's. It's a poker in olive wood that absolutely smokes like a dream. Just really, really like this pipe. And then I have, what shape is this called, Tim? You made this. What do you call that?
I don't know. It's like a bent Rhodesian, maybe.
I think so. I call it the boat pipe because it kind of has the curved lines like a boat. And then I have a fantastic pipe from Richard at EP Pipes. And I actually did a YouTube video on it about a year ago. And this is an olive wood, and it's got a copper adornment on it and a beautiful green stem. And Tim has has gotten up and left. And I'll just continue on my own here talking about olive wood pipes. But I'll post a link to Jack Ryan Pipes. I'll post a link to Richard at EP Pipes. And I'll post a link to DC Pipes. So if anybody's interested in getting olive wood pipes, you can contact those folks all on your own. So
I put this one on the scale just now. Okay, this is the one. This is the giveaway pipe for the end of September for the newsletter.
Okay.
All right, and it is 1.7 total, and just the stummel itself is 1.3 ounces. Now I don't have another billiard in briar out here to compare it to, but it's comparable to what you just described there in the pipes that you weighed a minute ago. So you can I can have two blocks, one of olive and one of briar, and it just depends. One will be just as dense and heavy as hell, and the other one will be light, and vice versa. And it just depends on how tight the grain is, what it was cut from, the amount of moisture in it. There's a lot of variables. So I think that, as a side note, the thing that I like about olive wood is they do impart a kind of a delicious, to me anyway, to my taste, a delicious, soft sort of olivey flavor when you first begin smoking it. And I especially like working in it because it smells great when you cut it.
Yeah. I like how they smoke. I am a huge fan of olive wood pipes, as evidenced by I have 6 or 7 of them, and I just showed them all to you. So, all right, excellent. So, great question, RW. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we actually weighed it in grams just for you because, Canada.
Oh, got
and here
it.
in the United States, we use different. Yeah. All right, from our friend Dominic Aradio Jr. On Instagram, and Dominic is just a great guy. I chat with him fairly frequently, and, he takes some fantastic photos. If you haven't seen his Instagram, look him up. He just super nice guy. I have a question. When it comes to pipe tobacco, is it considered organic and chemical free? And is there even an organic pipe tobacco available? Thanks, guys. Tim, you want to give that a shot? Organic? Not organic?
I think if I'm correct, the term organic would indicate that the tobacco lacks pesticides, commercial pesticides, chemicals, and whatnot. And I don't grow tobacco. I have no idea what is put on the tobaccos that I purchase or smoke. So this is my long way of saying I have no freaking idea whether a tobacco is organic or not.
Okay. So I'll answer this in 2 parts. One, if you buy blenders from Cornell and Deal or Sutliff or Peter Stockeby or any of the major houses, the things you get at smokingpipes.com or Pipes and Tobacco, those have typically, so the classic example is the Sutliff Red Virginia 515 RC1. It has been cased with what I imagine to be a vinegar, whether it's apple vinegar, I'm not really sure, but it's a very light. It has a vinegary taste. Now, matured Virginias will give you that vinegary taste. However, I believe that has been enhanced chemically. So beware when you're buying those blenders, Dark Burley, some of the others typically will have a humectant put on it, which is something to keep them moist. And I try as much as humanly possible to not put anything on the tobaccos that I get. Now, there are some things that I'll put rum or, when you're making Navy plate, to make it Navy, you have to put rum on it. But right on the package, and let me grab one. So this is the French Burley the French dark air cured wrapper. Package contains unmanufactured whole leaf tobacco, and I use a lot of whole leaf tobacco because I'm hypersensitive to glycopropyl alcohol, which is typically how they put the flavoring on most aromatics, at least most American aromatics. I find that it's not as strong a taste on some of the Europeans, specifically Dan Tobacco, their Blue Note, which I think is a fantastic aromatic. But the Americans use glycopropyl alcohol, and I get terrible tongue bite from it. So when I'm making blends and I'm working with tobacco, I try not to do anything other than shred it and put it away. Now, if the leaves come to me where they're very, very dry, I will rehydrate them with distilled water simply to make them pliable so that I don't make dust with the shredder. Perique is where there's chemicals that they put on Perique to give it its unique flavor. They crush it and press it in barrels, and that's how it achieves its flavor. Latakia, dark fired Kentucky, Tennessee Kentucky, light fire cured, dark fire cured, have all been smoked. So there are some, the smoke residue from it, but I think that a majority of whole leaf is organic as much as it possibly can be. As far as pesticides use, so when growing tobacco, there are some bugs that really tear tobacco up, and how they control it on individual farms, I think, is up to each individual farmer. But I don't believe they use much because anything you put on the tobacco leaf can change its taste and flavor. So I think they use very, very little. So if you wanted to get into blending, I would recommend you get into, and you're really looking for something organic, get whole leaf, shred it yourself, and make it that way. I do use some of the store-bought stuff simply because I can't replicate the flavors with what's available to me. So there you go. All right. Hope that answered your question, Dominic. Thank you for asking. Oh, here's a good one for you, Tim. From Pathfinder Pipes on Instagram, what is the Joe Skoda technique for high gloss finish that Tim teased a few episodes ago? And I believe that was in episode 2 when we talked about the Columbus Pipe Show. So, Tim, what is the Joe Skoda technique?
Well, what he shared with me, it's a secret, and all I can do is tease it. I can't give any information. So you're screwed, pal. I'm just joking. Come on.
I'm telling you nothing, and you're going to enjoy it. So please.
Seriously, here's how it goes. You take you get your shape down. Generally, you're going to go from, maybe an 80 grit, something like that, taking it, getting the rough shape. And then you go to, maybe 120, something like that. And then 240 and keep raising the grit count, 400. And then once you get to 600, take the stummel to your buffing wheel and use bobbing compound. It's a little coarser than the Tripoli compound. It cuts better, and so you run it on that. That'll take all those fine scratches out. And if you have a good light over top of your wheel, you'll be able to see on the surface whether you're getting the scratches out. And if you're not, they're too deep, then go back to the sandpaper, buff over those areas, and go back to the bobbing compound wheel. And then once you get through with that, then go to the white diamond, and that'll put a nice high gloss on it. And then use whatever finish you prefer. So if you're using oil, or you're using shellac, The thing that I found that works really well is if you take a fairly dilute uh, shellac and put a coat on there and let it cure. Let it sit for 3-4 hours. That'll raise all the fuzz up, anything that's would be rough, and then you go back to the bobbing compound and turn that down, buff it down, and then go back to the uh, white diamond, and that should raise the shine pretty good. And so you just have to work with it. But man, it makes a huge difference. So that seems to be the technique, and I found it to be very very helpful and very effective.
Okay. Excellent. I know a little bit about finishing pipes. I have no idea, so I will just let Tim kind of run with that one. So well done. And thank you to Joe Skoda for sharing that with you. That is,
Yeah, he
world
makes
class.
it's just beautiful work, unbelievable.
Yeah. Yep. I have seen some of his work. So also from, this is from Facebook, from Brad the Bearded Piper. And he's got a very simple question. Zippo, Old Boy, or Bic?
All of the above. Either
Okay.
of the above.
Okay.
As whatever's in my pocket and whatever I can reach, that's what I use.
All right. Brad, I will tell you, I prefer matches first. If I'm in a place where I can use matches, if I'm out in the garage where I'm shielded from the wind, I'll use a match. I have two old boys. One's a Zycar and one is a $15 Amazon pipe, and this is the Zycar. I also have the Bics with the extended stem. It's not my everyday carry, but I do like them when I'm out on walks because it makes it a little bit more convenient. And then my everyday carry is just a simple Bic with my pipe nail made by the fantastic artist Mad Max Forged. So there you go. I don't ever use a Zippo. Never. I have a Zippo pipe lighter. I cannot stand the smell of lighter fluid. Period. Don't like it. Reminds me of cigarettes. Never a Zippo. So there you go.
Yeah, a lot
All
of
right.
people complain about the flavor, getting the taste. When you draw
Well,
down the flame down on the tobacco, you get the lighter fluid taste. I found that if you
yep.
strike it and then let it burn for a bit and then do it, it's you don't get as much, and it passes pretty quickly. So I'm kind of easy to please that way. Whatever works.
Okay. All right. So that's our latest from our segment of Tim is wrong again. So we'll keep score. And
So far, I'm winning.
you are absolutely winning. And now, as the grand finale to the Ask Us Anything from BG Woodworks, he makes absolutely gorgeous pipe stands. If you haven't seen his work, check him out on Instagram. I think he's got a website too. We'll post a link for it when we post the video on YouTube. Who's going to win the World Series, and why did you choose the Atlanta Braves?
You know, this is going to sound really un-American, and it probably is, but when the Cleveland Indians changed their name to the Guardians, I'm done with pro baseball. Done.
All right. So that you know, baseball was always my love. It was my favorite sport. I loved it. Television has absolutely ruined baseball. There is no other reason that baseball games take as long as they do, no matter what they do. The problem with baseball is commercials, and it has now been over 4 years since I've turned on a TV and watched anything, and it's because of commercials. in answer directly to your questions, I think they're going to have a tough time beating the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles have come a long way. They're absolutely on fire. And I think we'll see the Atlanta Braves in the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series. That's just my prediction. Atlanta has a tough road ahead because the Dodgers are very, very good again this year. And the American League, I just think Baltimore is the cream of the crop. So that's my official word on baseball.
That's
hard-hitting, informative.
For a guy that doesn't watch baseball,
yeah.
You seem to know a lot.
Yeah. I do keep track of baseball, and what interests me most of all is the box score. I can't stand when I don't want a professional commentator's opinion on anything. I watch the game. Don't tell me that was a great catch. I saw that it was a great catch. And that's always been annoying to me. But I do read the box scores. I do take a look who did what, and enjoy sports a lot more doing it that way. Well, I can read the box score in a minute, and all the games I don't care about, I can ignore, and on to the next thing. So
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Chad, if you're still watching from Lethal Precision, I'm playing you this week in fantasy football, and I'm breaking you down like a 4-speed. I am absolutely putting an ass whipping on you, Chad. So if you watched all the way to the end, I'm openly taunting and mocking you here on our podcast. Justin and Nate got on and said that I am absolutely a vicious trash talker, and to be honest with you, I'm not even the best trash talker in my group of friends.
It sounded pretty mild to me. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, and I don't think that I'm all that particularly vicious. I think y'all are just thin-skinned, and you could not survive a trash-talking session with the guys I grew up with because they would make you cry.
Yeah.
And that was their goal. So,
Right. I mean, it got into like personal insults and, really nasty stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The one of my favorite ones that really made me question my manhood, I said, I really got to find a new girlfriend. And my buddy looks over and goes, if you were 2 inches longer, you could find some new girlfriend. And I go, oh, savage.
Nice.
That hurt.
Nice.
I'm just going to stand here with this book in front of me for the rest of my life. Thank you so much.
Oh, God.
All right. So that.
Yeah. Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah. Outstanding. Thank you, Bob. I remember that forever. Kind of like the carrot. So we're going to do a giveaway, or not a giveaway. We're going to have a contest. We haven't really thought about the rules, but we're very excited because, Mitchell says, I really want to be involved in your show, and I really think we ought to have him on for an interview, and we should have a contest. Leave us a comment. We'll have to think about it. I was thinking, whoever writes us the best comment, the one that makes us laugh or the one that really makes us think, we'll give the pipe away that way. He's going to send magnets and stickers, and again, it's a 2023 Peterson Christmas pipe. They are absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't seen them, please look them up. But it is on its way. It will be here before our next episode, and we're just so very excited. It will come from Colorado. Mitchell's going to ship it to me, and then I will ship it out to the winner. But Tim and I will chat off air and find out what we want to do. Whether we're going to have a contest or just a random drawing, something. But we are very excited to be partnering up with MBSD Pipes, mbsd.com, and just excited to have him be part of our show. So it's very thoughtful.
It ought to be the most politically incorrect comment or joke that sexist, you name it. Like all the bad stuff that you're not allowed to do anymore, but it has to be just on the edge that we can do it without being banned from YouTube and Spotify and Apple. So it's got to be, if it's too bad, we won't be, and we'll know. Like you and I will know. Sure, we got a filter.
Sure, we're well filtered most of the time. Absolutely.
Yeah, I never say anything off color.
And now a word from the vegans. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So
maybe that that's a more hilarious idea than my suggestion. So,
and it could be a joke, like I was thinking, like what's the difference between a bowling ball and, I don't know, Oprah Winfrey's catcher's mitt? If you really had to, you could eat the bowling ball. Like that.
Yeah.
But see how you do, like Oprah, catcher's mitt? It's,
yeah.
It's veiled. But you get it.
One of the older jokes in my life was, what's the difference between your mom and the washing machine? The washing machine doesn't follow me around after I dump a load in it.
Oh, God.
Yep.
That was... Oh, God. What's the difference between a brown noser and an ass kisser? About a half inch.
Yeah. This weekend, and I meant to say this while I was doing the podcast, because I do another podcast with Mike and Iris called That Sort of Weird.
That joke was bad.
Yeah, bad aim. And we were talking about Ouija boards and psychics and seances, and my dad had this dad joke, and the story goes that a dwarf psychic escaped from prison, and the police APB said a small medium at large.
That's awful.
That's awful. And
That's
absolutely
a
love
dad
it.
joke right there, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Wah, wah,
wah. Yeah. And
you hear tires squealing and glass breaking,
So I'm glad I shared it on this podcast and not the other one. So there you go.
For sure. For sure.
And I have always, as mean as it is, I have always had a love affair with Helen Keller jokes. And my favorite one is always Helen Keller walked into a bar, and then a table, and then a chair.
What's Helen Keller say when she falls down the elevator shaft?
Frantically waving. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's us. Yeah. On episode 7, we'll talk about our YouTube ban and why we can't be on Spotify anymore.
All right, here, just one more. Just one more.
All right, go ahead. Fire away.
The old guy goes into the doctor for his 80-year-old checkup, and the doctor says, Stan, you're in great shape. Going to give you a clean bill of health. Any questions I can answer? He says, yeah, I do have one question. He says, what's that? He says, well, when I was 25, he says, I grab a hold of my member and try to bend it, and it was like an iron rod. I couldn't bend it, not a bit. And he said, and then maybe like 35, I try again, no good, couldn't bend it. And then like at 65, I could bend it a little bit. He said, and the other day I tried, and he said, I could bend it just a little bit more. And the doctor says, well, what's your question? He goes, how much stronger do you think I'm going to get?
That's a good one. I like that. I like that one.
Lord.
How much stronger do you think I'm going to get? Classic. Feel free to send us jokes too. We'll happily read them on here. We are not politically correct. And again, our favorite segment is Ask Us Anything. So if you guys have any questions, you can email us. You can post them on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you connect with us, and we'd love to chat about just anything. So feel free to do so. You can listen to this podcast on Apple and Spotify, and you can watch it on YouTube. And one of the things we were going to talk about that we didn't is why some videos get more views than others, and neither one of us have any idea or how the algorithm works.
We don't know. We just know how to say algorithm. We don't know what it means.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to spell it.
RYTHYM. Rhythm. That's it.
Rhythm. Well,
Yep.
the contest is going to be
So
fun. And thanks to Mitchell for supplying the pipe for the contest. Shoot us some ideas on what you think will work, and then we'll come up with something as well.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it on the next episode, and then I think in episode 8 we'll actually give the pipe away. So
sounds good.
There you go. All right, excellent. Well, Tim, as always, thank you for all of you listening and watching. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you joining us. Have an excellent week. Smoke what you like, and don't let anybody tell you different.
Good night, everybody.